We are in downtown Plymouth and we are going to head out onto a whale watching tour, crossing our fingers that we're going to see whales, setting our intentions. Yep.
Taking my chances along with my dreams.
Today is Labor Day and we took a whale watching tour out to Plymouth, Massachusetts, and words cannot describe when those whales came out to the water. It was, you know the song These Magic Moments? That was a magic moment. This was a National Geographic experience. Simply amazing, and we hope that everybody can experience something like this because it was so special. These are the moments we live for, right? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Two separate ones. Okay, so
we are boarding John's whale watching and heading out to see us some whales. Pilgrim Bell, owned by the same owners of the whale watching boat we're on.
It is going to be followed by 3 short blasts in just a moment. That's it for the horns. But those horns are very important for communication purposes. The long loud horn lets everyone know that we're departing away from the dock, and the 3 short blasts lets them know that we're backing up into the harbor. It's not too busy down here right now, but since we are a very large vessel, we want to make sure that our intentions are well known as we're moving throughout the harbor. So since 1620, Plymouth has been a colony. It's still the town of Plymouth, even though it should be the city of Plymouth, but we still keep it as the town. Alright, well first we gotta make our way out of Plymouth Harbor. Unfortunately, we do have to travel through a channel because Plymouth Harbor is very shallow and it's gonna snake around and out, so I'll just kind of point out some cool landmarks along the way. On your right hand side we are passing the Mayflower II. It is a replica of the original Mayflower, and it is said to be a very faithful replica. It was built in the 1960s using the same traditional methods that the colonists used when they were building their ships back in the 1600s. They only added electricity and they changed a ladder in the back to a staircase because it is now a living museum, and you can purchase tickets to go on board, and they have actors on board sometimes, and they tell all about the colonists, the first colonists here in Plymouth, about their journey over on the Mayflower and how it's nothing like what you guys learned in school. On your left-hand side, you're going to see this lighthouse right here in the middle of the harbor. Outcroppings around it. That's actually why the lighthouse was put into place. And all those rocky outcroppings are perfect habitat for lobsters. And a lot of mariners call lobster pups. So a lot of rocky outcroppings, a lot of lobsters, lots of eggs, and then you have fun like that.
That's the oldest wooden lighthouse in America and the first to be run by a woman.
Whales have what's called a fission-fusion society, so they don't form really strong bonds and family pods like the toothed whales, like dolphins do. They get together and they socialize and they cooperate to feed, and we call them aggregations more so. It's scientifically acceptable to call them pods, but most people don't. They usually just kind of call them groups.
Oh my god! Oh, that's so cool! Oh my god! Okay. Awesome. That's great, huh? Oh my god! That is so amazing.
That is Francisca, which is lizard in Spanish. She actually slightly...
Your camera Sarah, take pictures, honey. Can you take pictures? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was Francisca. I don't know if you guys noticed that when they exhaled, you can actually see a rainbow.
Yeah.
When they exhale, we call them rainbows. They're so cool. Rainbows. These wee things. Oh, we're grown nerds up here. So. Right here somewhere.
Oh, I heard it. Oh! It's gone right over the front. But that looks like something there.
Right under the bow. Wow, you guys!
Oh.
And Jessica gave you the best look ever. She blew all of her breath on you.
Oh my gosh. Right in the front.
Great looks we're getting right here. Now this isn't a choice to be this close to the boat. These males are very comfortable around their boats.
Sani, what's your opinion of the whale watching day?
What's your opinion? It was really great.
Beautiful.
I thought it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
Debbie,
to see him up front.
what's
up
your
close and
thoughts about
personal.
this whale watching experience? Is it
Still looking at me.
Wait.
I'm here in the back. Here I am.
There.
There I am. It was
How was your
amazing.
experience?
I loved it. Great experience.
A National Geographic?
Oh, you bet.
Bucket list.
A bucket list, as Lily would say, one for the books.
Yeah. There we go.
So, let's talk about our whale watching. So Renee, what's your opinion of today's whale watching day?
I think the whales are being snotty today.
They would just come up, blow the snot at
And
us,
throw the snot and move along.
and move along.
Move along.
So there you have it.
There's
Everybody's
the
whale watching experience.
For Cheryl's birthday.
Yep, the last day of 59. Oh wow, look at the sun on the water, how pretty. Wow, wait.
to Plymouth, everybody.
Thank
If you
you.
look on your right-hand side, see the sort of low tide now? Look how much of that breakwater you can see. What a
Yeah.
cool difference. When we went out, it was almost all the way covered.
Right.
So you can actually see how much, you know, rock there actually is there. I love seeing
What
it
a
all the time.
difference. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I had a fantastic time out there on the water today.
Me too. Me
Anybody
too.
else?
Woo! Get some fish?
See how they have the truck backed up? They may be getting a big tuna.
A 453-pound tuna. Wow, look at that. Holy mackerel. I mean, holy tuna. And this boat just brought it in. Good for them. I like the name of this one. Let's see what they've got. There it goes. So it's only $19 to go in for a tour of, oh, there's a little map here. And there's a video. It's not written yet. I'm just gonna walk them through that. I'm a live in the moment kind of person, but but I am fascinated by all the history in our travel. This is super interesting. So they left on September 6th and we are here on September 1st. Almost to the day that 102 boarded this ship and left.
The deck we're up on now is the half deck, so I don't, like I was telling some of these folks, I don't think the Pilgrims would have been allowed up here. I think you'd be in the way. The little cabin in the stern there is where all your tools and instruments for navigation are going to be housed and kept. And then underneath the combing and the grating here is where the helm is, so that's what steers the ship. So I don't think you'd want people up here causing any sort of distraction. I don't find that to be appropriate. I feel like you and me going to the Logan Airport, going up into air traffic control tower, and asking the individuals working how they thought the Olympics went. Excuse me? Yeah, no, thank you. You know, when you think about it, every line here is got a purpose. It's all part of a big picture. It's, a lot of individual components that all have to sort of work together to be successful.
Good point. What year did they leave? It said September 6th, but what year was it?
1620 is when it left on
1620.
September 6th.
Wow.
The original.
The original, yeah.
And they're at sea until the 11th of November. They sighted land on the 9th of November at Cape Cod, but they spend a day and a half trying to sail to the Hudson River, allegedly, with no success. And then they'll finally anchor out about 18 miles over in this direction to the east, at what we call today Providence Town.
All right.
And they'll anchor there on the 11th. They don't actually move the Mayflower from Cape Cod to Plymouth until December 16th. So, and at that point, the Mayflower is going to be at anchor about a mile and a quarter, kind of out where like the whale watch for the charter fishing boats going out to now.
Okay.
This is real.
In that area called the Cow Yard. So they're using small boats like that to shuttle or ferry themselves. So over by the marina there is where the original settlement's constructed. So the original colony or the original town's built on the north side of Town Brook. And Town Brook is just on the north side of that building.
Interesting.
So you got any questions about what you see inside there? That's all tools for navigation. So they didn't have computers, they don't have GPS back then. You gotta do it the oldie-timey way. They have magnetic compasses.
You have sextants?
Not yet. 115 years later. 1735. A round board with the pegs is an instrument called a traverse board. And what that's doing is measuring 3 different things. Specifically, it's measuring time. So every half an hour, the bell is going to be struck or rung, and that's progressive up to 8 bells or 4 hours. So that's a half an hour, hour and a half, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4 hours. That's 1 watch. Down here at the half hour, they throw that quadrant chip into the water off the back, and that measures the ship's speed. So using time, direction, and speed, they can deduce or dead reckon their position east to west or west to east. There's no chronometer. Each bore is 140 plus years away. So deduction or dead reckoning is how you estimate your longitude. So a lot of people don't understand like how GPS works. So when this ship sails to America, it does it in the 50s. This left England on the 20th of April 1957. That it arrives here in Plymouth on June 13th. Now that next October is when the Soviets launched Sputnik. So when they brought this to America, they're doing it kind of, I mean, they had a sextant, so they're not completely like the Pilgrims, but close. They did have a set of like reproduction 16th and 17th century navigation tools, but they use it more for like photo frost.
So this was built in England?
Yeah, they started construction on this ship 69 years ago. In July of 1955, the keel was laid. And then it's launched in September 56 and brought into a dry dock and then relaunched in early April of 57. And then in a couple of weeks, they ballast it and sea trial it and sail it over.
Not sure what this deck is. Which deck is this? What room is this?
Steerage. We're steering the ship from here.
Oh, this is very
important. So we don't have a wheel at this time in history. It hasn't been invented yet, not for another 100 years.
wow.
So the whip staff sits on top of the tiller that moves the rudder. So the idea is that you gotta move the tiller left and right like any sailboat. This whip staff sits on top of the tiller, so when we go into a turn, that whip staff right there is gonna come down and push in. And as it's pushing in, what the idea is that you have to push the tiller off to the side.
Wow.
So they can't see anything.
I was just going to say, they can't.
Does it?
This is the front or the back of the ship?
Back.
This is the back.
They don't really need to see anything, and other ships are set up like this. It's not unique to this ship. I saw like 5 decks, and they had, again, steerages. So even the word steerage, you think of steerage as a department for lower things. That's because when they turn to more manual and the noise and everything, steerage becomes that compartment near that. So, so same with the other ship. So what's going to happen is this cabin here, I think it's supposed to be twice the width. It's going to have compasses on either side. So if this is the whip staff, it's going to come down, and then they're going to push it in. And as they're pushing in, and the ship is going into a turn, which I believe is going to also be with the sails. They're not just going to move the rudder. That they're looking at the compass in front of them, and they're going into their turn until they get the ship in that compass direction. Now, once you get it in that compass direction, then that's just going to come back up.
Interesting.
Can you explain this again? How that worked? That's the knots. That's how the word knots came from.
Yep, the speed of the ship. This is just small for demonstration purposes. We do have a life-size one above deck in the roundhouse. The chart room is just right there at the opening. So the chip piece gets thrown overboard. It sits dead in the water. It's probably quite heavy. They can weigh it down with some lead. So what it's supposed to do is on the ship is the log piece with the rope. It's supposed to resist the pull of the rope. My guess is they're also going to feed it. I mean, and I would guess experienced sailors even can sense by how much they're unraveling what the speed is going to be. So the timing on it, instead of dropping in for an hour, which 1 knot is equal to 1 nautical mile per hour, it's practical to do. They're going to drop it in for 30 seconds, and then they've done the math out, so there's about 50 feet in between the knots. So after 30 seconds, they quite literally just count how many knots are on the rope, and then that's going to be the speed of the ship. To get it back in, they do a little tug. It comes unlatched, and then turns into a surfboard, and then they can pull it back in.
Wow. Pretty amazing.
So the way that works is it's
That's the bell he was talking about. And now we're heading downstairs. Yeah, these steps are kind of steep.
I'll tell you.
Check this out.
Do you remember it?
Whoa. Super interesting, right? Oh, look, Richard's hammock. Wow, look at that. Oh. Wait, there's more. Oh, this one goes down.
It actually will probably be like sealed together. The covering with a couple layers of oiled fabrics will be a small book on top of it. So no light's getting through, no air is getting through. It's going to be dark and muggy down here the whole time. But I mean, no light means no water can get in. That's what matters.
So this is where they stay down.
Yeah, this deck is the tween deck, so it's where the 102 passengers are. They would have lived down here for between 6 to 8 months. That's because of delays back in England, a 66-day voyage, and then once they arrive, the last 2 to 4 months are spent finding this area and building homes. On this deck with the 102 is an assortment of animals, a small sailboat broken into pieces and a couple cannons, and down below our feet is the cargo hold, so everything else is down there. All their food and drink, but also any clothing, furniture, tools, weapons, or materials they may have needed on board, largely being saved for once they've arrived.
So interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Imagine being in here with, 119 other people.
You put 25
For 6 months.
I know.
Yeah.
You got light. I've been here
In the middle of storms.
Yeah.
Out on that ocean with nothing surrounding you.
Didn't
It's
realize
like,
there were so many levels.
wow.
Yeah, I think we have 5 decks. We have the cargo holds below us, this tween deck, the main deck, and the half deck where you started, and then there's a small deck above that called the roof deck.
The story of America is all about immigration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we all love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you think about how these guys were leaving their homeland, just, running from persecution. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
people are doing today.
They're still doing
And
it.
there's this, yeah, yeah,
It really is.
it really is.
Centuries after century. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's like as if you're blind.
I know, right? It's, yeah.
I mean, the American dream started with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Just it wasn't known as the American dream.
The original immigrants. These are them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first immigrants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So people have been risking their lives to come to this country for centuries, right? This is an incredible story to know that these 102 people took a chance, jumped on this ship. They didn't know, where they were going, what they were doing. And to this day, people are still doing this, risking their lives to come to this country. We came to this country on a different Mayflower. American Airlines, ours had wings. And we were very fortunate. We were here in hours. But so many people risked their lives to come to this country for the American dream. Everybody has a Mayflower story. This tour is really powerful, this tour of this ship, and pretty emotional actually. So this was brought here in pieces, and when they got here, they put it together. How about that?
Came over the Mayflower, and this is the first thing they saw when they came into Plymouth Harbor. So we need to memorialize them via this rock. And so they built the wharf and they built it around the rock. And ever since, it's actually been covered since the 1800s. There was like a gazebo over it, and now the portico was put in place in 1920 to celebrate the 300-year anniversary. So it's been in there ever since. And about 2/3 of it is still underground. So that's why it's not as impressive as it seems, but it's pretty cool.
So we left our sticker here the other night in the middle of town. There it is. Adventures of CNC. I don't want you to spray me or anything. I just want you to come up so that I can see you. Okay. I just want to see you. Oh, there he is. Look, look. Oh my. My honey always says everything in life is a trade-off, and the only downside to living on the road and traveling this amazing country is that we miss out spending time with family and friends, especially on to special occasions. So I'm super grateful that my sister Debbie and our friends Renee and Richard were able to come and celebrate my 60th birthday with me. Yeah, I know that's a really big number, but we had an amazing time, and they brought me gifts from my friends in Florida, and I'm so grateful for my amazing birthday gifts. We had such a good time exploring Plymouth and whale watching and restaurant hopping. I think we celebrated for like 5 days and nights. It was awesome.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? It goes and it goes, I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys is just in my day. So won't the real Slim Shady? Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just in my day. So won't the real Slim Shady?
We checked into Sandy Pond Campground. We booked here actually for just like 4 nights, but we extended it. We came a day early and we actually extended for a day later without knowing when we got here that we barely have any service. We have horrible service. We have AT&T, and our internet is with T-Mobile. It's worked all over the country except for a spot into Wyoming, but it's not working here. So it's been super stressful. We got here at the end of the month, my most busiest work time. I ended up finding a Starbucks close by. When you have no internet at the park and you have to come work at Starbucks and upload your YouTube videos. Thank goodness it's only like 9 minutes. But I can't be running to Starbucks all the time, so I have to stay at Starbucks like all day. It's super inconvenient. Our friends rented a cabin in here and I was able to feed off their router. So I'm catching a signal from across the street, and my retractable desk is the barbecue pit. You have to make it work. But now they've gone and we have to move a spot farther away from their router, and I'm not going to have any more internet service. So I'm back to my office, heading back to Starbucks to work. Oh man. So we are at Starbucks trying to render and upload our video. We've been here so long, the place is closed, and now we've moved to outside, connected to their Wi-Fi. Still trying to upload our video. We we closed Starbucks because they close at 9. And I went next door at Domino's using their electricity, but using the Wi-Fi from Starbucks, crossing our fingers. Thank you guys as always for watching and hanging with us until the end and exploring Plymouth and going whale watching. Wasn't that exciting? Now stay tuned to next week as we take you to the picturesque Cape Cod and P-Town.